All right, well, I'll go get started. I've been an insurance broker. I got licensed in 2005, and I wanted to make good money, and I saw how contractors, there's good premium and commission, and and I jumped right into it. But I wanted to help the trades, and like I said, every day it really irritates me that I get new clients and I'm saving them 50%. This industry, contractors are getting ripped off by brokers and greedy carriers who pretty much bribe the brokers to sell their high-priced products that are overpriced. I see it every day, and I want to expose the industry and teach you this is what I'm passionate about. I know I go in for the kill. When I know you're getting ripped off, I show you and I get the business. That's pretty much how I've been very successful in what I do. So basically there are two culprits: bad brokers and greedy insurance companies. I want to start off with my competitors who are very, who are very ignorant and don't know the industry. They're the worst culprits of this group. I have my new website here. It's my state fund landing page. And if you go to the graph, this graph is basically, where most brokers will basically fail you in workers' comp insurance. The majority of my competitors do not specialize in construction. They don't know the underwriting. They don't know the guidelines of the better carriers. So what do? They take every contractor to state compensation insurance fund. The state comp insurance fund is the option of last resort. So their job is to take all the worst risk in the world that no one else wants. So basically the worst risk in the world in construction are your roofers, tree trimmers, demolition contractors, any trade that work with a lot of height, scaffolding, over 3 stories. These are all, if you have, those are the ones that are pretty much, I call married to state fund, unfortunately. If you don't have any of these exposures, these are what I call the low risk guys who I can find better private carriers are 50% cheaper than state fund. Plumbers, electricians, landscapers, HVAC. Pretty much 95% of the trades should not be with state fund. The sad thing is every day I see a majority of the contractors and I see they're with state fund. So I go, number one, I ask them, do you have any claims? Most of them say no. I'm like, do you want to save 50%? It's that simple. And the problem is they always say, oh my God, my broker keeps telling me that state fund's the only option. They're lazy. They're not dedicated to helping you. They just want to write a policy because they don't want to learn the underwriting guidelines, the qualification with the better companies that will save you 50%. And that's what I'm dedicated to, the underwriting guidelines, understanding how to get you through an underwriter. Like the biggest thing that I understand with underwriters is looking at websites. A lot of carriers will decline you. I know, I go to websites, I look at your website, and I know exactly if I'll tell you, hey, you're going to get declined by your web content. I know all the tricks that underwriters use to decline you. My job is to get you approved and get you better rates, and I'm the best in the business. So basically, so these are examples of that's what you got to have a good broker who's knowledgeable, understands that. I just had a new client I got. It's really disgusting. I got his commercial auto insurance policy, and I did a review on his general liability insurance. The broker who wrote his policy he's like a small remodeling contractor, 500,000 gross sales, and he took him to a big level market company with a minimum premium of $7,500. And so basically, the math on his premium of 500,000, $8 per thousand gross receipts. The premium should have been $4,000, but because of the minimum, it doubled it to $7,500 plus taxes, fees, whatever his broker fee is. So of course, brokers like that, they're all in it for the commission. $7,500, he makes 10 to 12% of that plus his broker's fee. He's probably taking all his contractors to this high market getting ripped off. I gave him a quote out the door, $2,500, and that's what I do every day. It's an everyday occurrence. This is exactly what I mean by, contractors are getting ripped off by brokers who are ignorant, don't know, greedy. Unfortunately, our business is commission based. A lot of brokers care about their commission, not their client. Yeah. And which is the sad thing. They don't want to lower premium because, they think they're going to make less money. Yeah, you will. Take your client. That's You will make less money, 'cause I'll steal your, that's what I do. I steal clients that way. I expose the greed, take the customer, and that's the bottom line of my success. And I want to share about this. The second culprit of our industry are the greedy insurance companies. You know, a lot of these major companies have major market shares and sell terrible products and could be 50% more than my competitors. But what these carriers do, they understand if you control the brokers, you control the market. It's just that simple. There's two strategies on how these companies will control the markets. The big one, a lot of the major companies have quotas. Major quotas if you want to get a direct appointment with them. See, as all brokers, we want direct appointments because we get all the commission. But the problem is, you know, so if you can't meet a quota, you have to go to a wholesaler. The wholesaler takes 5% of your commission and you get the rest. So they take a good chunk of it in my industry. So what do? They definitely, once you start working with them through a wholesaler, they'll try to get you a direct appointment, but then you have to meet these large quotas. Like Mercury is a great example. They require a production of $500,000 in premium every year. Yeah, try meeting that without selling all your other carriers. They own you. Anyone who sells Mercury, I call them a Mercury agent. They're not selling anyone else. That's the only way you can meet a quota like that. Other big ones, Arrowhead, they're a big work comp broker, and they have a lot of markets. They require 500,000 production. So that's the number one way to control brokers. Force them to sell your products and not the competitor. That's, you know, so I'm proud to say all my appointments I have no production requirements. So that way I can be loyal to my customers and not the insurance companies. That's very important to make sure that you work with a broker who doesn't have high quotas. That makes them a slave to the carrier. That's pretty much it. The second way that carriers will control brokers, pay them more. Money, money, money. Money talks in this business. Greed is very powerful in this business, unfortunately. And you know, one big underwriter, Alon knows them very well, SIS Insurance. What do you think about SIS Insurance?
Well, as you call them, Swiss cheese, right?
Swiss cheese insurance services. They write the garbage policy of our business for general liability, and they exclude everything. It's a piece of garbage. They have a huge market share, though. How do they do it? There are two top producers. One's called Contractors Edge. The other's called Statewide Insurance. Statewide Insurance is located in Pasadena. They have about 5 offices, 300 producers. They're a big operation. And so if I were to sell SIS's product, they you know, for that piece of garbage, they'd pay me 15% commission. The two top producers, because of their production, they both get 20%. So guess who they sell? That's all they sell. I compete against Statewide every day, and it's always the same product, and you know, and that's who I'm taking it from. But so these are you got to be aware of the brokers. Who's their allegiance to? So these are great examples of what these carriers do. So. And the biggest snake in my industry is Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett runs it. He's worth $90 billion. He's worth that because he charges you nice rates to up his profit. That's what he does. That's why he's worth $90 billion. All his products are so overpriced. It's ridiculous. One of his carriers, Berkshire Hathaway Direct, for commercial auto. I mean, I did a quote there. I'm like, I'm not kidding when I say this. One truck for $8,000. I'm like, I don't know how the hell you sell that. You know, you probably could get a second mortgage, right? You know, I have to get you involved if I want to sell that policy. Get a second mortgage to pay for it. It's ridiculous. No one should be paying $8,000 for a truck, but that's what they're quoting. Well, obviously someone's writing it, or they have to lower their rates. And that's just the reality. And so there are brokers selling these products. And Berkshire, you know, so they're definitely all about incentives, profit sharing. You know, they'll do anything to get a broker to be loyal to them, and they'll pay you big money, you know, so that way you sell their products and not the competition. And the number one who they partner up with, especially on workers' comp, are the 2 biggest work comp brokers in America. Can anyone guess who the 2 top biggest work comp brokers are in America? Most people don't know. My 2 biggest competitors, ADP and Paychecks. They're not in the payroll business. They're work comp brokers. And basically, they definitely partner up with Berkshire Hathaway to make sure they sell their products. And I'm sure Berkshire rewards them very well to keep their market share where they're at. I take business from ADP and Paychecks. It's always over expensive, like Guard. I take a lot of business from them. That's their #1 flagship for workers' comp insurance. Their products are like 50% way more than what I have to offer. So, and the problem with you work with ADP and Paychecks, they have high turnover, in terms of their employees. In insurance, if you want to make the money, you need to own the book of business. Residuals is the name of the game to make money. The producers at ADP, Paychecks, they don't own the book. ADP and Paychecks do. So once these brokers get familiar, they know what they're doing. Every broker, I included, I went on my own once I figured out, why am I making him money? I'm better than him. I went on my own. Every insurance producer would do the same thing if they want to make money. So odds are you're working with at ADP and Paychecks a guy who just got their insurance license, selling you workers' comp insurance. No experience, doesn't know anything about underwriting. They make mistakes all the time, and I always beat them by 50% because they don't know the markets the way I do in my business. So basically, these are the ways, the tricks, and the techniques that the carriers who have high price products control the markets and have a 50% share. So they use all these techniques, and I'm very proud to say, that I'm not for sale, and I'm proud, and I'm definitely proud to say, Guard got pissed off at me because I took all my business from them to my favorite carrier. They're 50% cheaper. They yanked my appointment. Oh well, that's what they do. When you don't do their dirty deeds, carriers will yank your appointments. The problem is a lot of brokers are afraid to lose their appointment, fear of loss. That's how they keep under control. I've lost many appointments due to that. That's their problem. If you can't beat the competition, I'll go elsewhere. And I've lost plenty of appointments due to lack of production, and the lack of production's on them. They're just not competitive. So these are all the techniques that carriers use to control the markets, overcharge contractors, and I'm a definite expert in that. I already know. I could talk to any contractor. I know who they're with. I could diagnose it and say, I could save you this amount, because I know who overcharges by what, and that's how good I am in this industry. And work comp is my #1 passion, because it's the biggest expense for the construction industry. Every year, the work comp industry is always evolving. I've been doing work comp for 10, 12 years now, and there's always new companies coming in, and there's always a new company that's the lowest price. Because when a carrier comes in, they want to be aggressive to get market share. They come in with the lowest prices. They could afford to do that because they don't have claims yet. So hopefully when you bring business in, claims may occur. If more claims come in, they got to raise prices. That's how this industry works. So, yesterday's great carrier is always replaced by the new one. I'm on top of that, always finding the new low price leader. Every 2 years it changes. And right now, the carrier I endorse, Clear Spring, 50% cheaper than everyone. That's how good they are. I'm moving my whole book to them. And so anyone who has work comp, no contractors with workers' comp insurance, that's a good referral for me. I'll save them 50% on it. Real simple. Okay, and so those are referrals I'm really looking for. I want to help people save money on their work comp insurance. And my #1 way I help contractors save on workers' comp insurance, at our last social mixer, who met my friend John Ortiz? He's my nuclear bomb to save you money on workers' comp insurance. His program, SIMR, is a federal program that basically, through your payroll taxes, will pay for your employees' voluntary benefits. So no money out of your pocket, no money out of your employees' pockets, but the benefit to the employer is it's pre-taxed, and that's what workers' comp premiums are based on, lowering your payroll tax liability by 30%. I'm working with the rescue roofer. He wants to save money. I can't get him away from state fund, but I can lower his payroll taxes. We're going to lower his work comp premium by $30,000. So anyone who has 5 or more employees, let me get you signed up. I'll save you that much, just like that. So these are all the things I do. I know many tricks, and I want to help everyone. No one's more dedicated than me on saving money on workers' comp insurance. AJ, I saved William Driver how much?
Yeah, so our company is plumbing and restoration both. So we have a plumbing license, and I know a lot of plumbers, and I refer them business. So one of our plumbers was getting all these contracts from Marriott residents, and his insurance wasn't up to par, and he was paying $12,000. That was his quote. Kevin got him for $4,000.
That's what I do
savings.
every day.
So
Those are the savings I bring to my contractors every day. William Driver is just one example of that. And you know, I'm dedicated to the business, and I love to do a free review, and I can show you ways how I can lower your premium. That's what I'm dedicated to. Any other questions?
It's more of an operations question. How do you balance your time between taking care of your existing clients and, you know, taking care of renewals and new business?
Oh, new business. I mean during the day, I keep alarm reminders to follow up with people, and then like when it comes to like service work certificates, I do that in the evening watching TV during a commercial break. Do a certificate.
All those cheap companies, how do they end up handle their claims?
Handle all the like. When it comes to workers' comp insurance, work comp premiums. Work comp is strictly a price game, and which I like about work comp, because the state of California, Elon would know this. You know, work comp laws are set up to force the employer to pay a workers' comp claim. That's why work comp's so expensive. So it's like, unlike liability insurance, where, you know, it comes to paying claims, you have to know your policy forms, exclusions. Like, don't go to an SIS insurance. Workers' comp, it's not like that. It's, you know, when your employee gets injured, they file a claim, the state will force the employer to pay through workers' comp. It's just that's how strict and regulated it is. So, but I like work comp because it's just a percentage game, and I know how to find the best net rates to lower by 50% all my contractors. That's what I do.
But, I am with State Farm. And I had 2 claims over 45 years. The first one was somebody got into some poison ivy,
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up paying $19,000 for that.
Wow.
And the second one, I rolled with my bobcat. I rolled a rock right over somebody's foot.
Ooh, ouch.
they did deserve They didn't make the meeting.
No, I didn't do it on purpose. But there was just a tiny little, another crack on the foot, and the guy was off like for 3 weeks. And then after 3 weeks, right before he came back to work, he claimed that he gained too much weight during those 3 weeks, and he couldn't go back to work.
Oh boy.
But workers' comp, state fund covered everything.
Well, they all have to. It's regulated by laws. All the carriers will. That's why rates are so expensive.
I'd rather spend a little more than not to have to pay.
Well, I mean, all the carriers will pay for the claim. It's just that's how regulated it is in California, which is why work comp premiums are so expensive. It's mandated on employer paying, you know. So it's all about reducing your rates.
So, all the worker comp contracts are all the same,
Yes,
and it's
regulated by state. Elon would know. He's ask Elon, the lawyer.
like you don't hear, like, again, when you talk about regular insurance claims, you hear all the time, oh, my claim got, you know, denied because of exclusion A through F. In workers' comp, there really
There is
aren't
no
exclusions.
No
Like,
exclusions in work comp insurance.
if
None.
there's an injury on the job, I mean, it's going to be
It's a
covered.
paid.
Yeah,
It's
like,
100% paid.
Yeah,
At a set rate, they're always the same rates.
pretty much.
So that's why work comp is strictly a percentage rate game. Lower the net rate, I'm the king.
Kevin, thanks for opening the kimono, as they say, on the industry. It's been really interesting. I missed, how do you save them on the payroll? You said you help them reduce their payroll taxes?
Yeah, my friend John Ortiz, I'm his number one referral agent because I understand work comp, and it's all about, see, after the audit, it's all about payroll taxes. So what you report at the end of the year, if you report less, you can drive your work comp rates down. And so basically his federal program is pre-taxed. And so it drives your payroll taxes down. That's what it's the percentage of payroll taxes what you pay for work comp. So that's how I was able to save Rick the roofer. We're going to work with them and save him over $30,000 on state fund.
Okay, any other questions?
Kevin,
Mhm.
when you brought up guard and are halfway, I almost threw up.
Yes, I do
talked
too.
about this before, but they do a bait and switch with residential. Do they do the same with where they'll give you a premium and then they're up at the next year? Because they did that with me.
Oh yeah, they do rate hikes all the time, and
They
you know.
gave me $1,000 rate for my house a year,
Mhm.
and then it went to $5,000 the next year. And then by the time I realized it, I was already like 13 days into the new one, so they charged me on a rate until I got new insurance.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I go, well, you're gonna lose me, and they go, we don't care if we lose you.
Of
Like, they
course
didn't
not.
care. They told me right on the phone, we don't care.
No, Warren Buffett doesn't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They just love that. If you're gonna pay $5,000, they're gonna laugh all the way to the bank.
Of course. Like I said, that's why Warren Buffett's worth $90 billion. It's real simple. Any other questions?
Thank you.